Every week, questions come in from parents like you who are in the middle of co-parenting. Not hypothetical situations, but real ones. Questions that do not have easy answers and that deserve honest ones. These are two of those questions. If either of them sounds like yours, I hope what follows is useful. I'm Marcie Shaoul, and this is Real Questions. The first question comes from a parent who has been dealing with something that is, in my experience, one of the most quietly damaging patterns in co-parenting, and it's much more common than most people realise. My ex uses the children to communicate. How do I stop it affecting them? Okay, so let's sit with the first bit first. Your co-parent is using the children as messengers, whether they realise it or not. And that might mean sending information through them. So tell your mum that I'm changing the pickup time on Saturday. Or it might mean asking them questions that they shouldn't be carrying. Oh, did your dad mention anything about the holiday? It might mean letting the children sense or even state how the other parent is feeling about decisions or arrangements. I want to name this very clearly. When kids are used as messengers, they carry something that is not theirs to carry. They become responsible in their own mind for the information they relay and for what happens as a result of it. And they begin to edit, compartmentalize, manage, decide what to tell, what to leave out. And all of that is cognitive and emotional labor that belongs to the adults in this situation and not the kids, okay? It's exhausting for them. Children are not built to handle adult information. Their brains are still developing to manage complexity and nuance and emotional material. So when they are placed in the middle of adult communication, they do not process it and they don't move on. They sit with it and they worry about it and they carry it into the classroom. And they often hide that they're carrying it because the last thing a child wants is to make things harder for the parent they're standing in front of. So what do you do? The first thing is the one that you can control directly. Stop being the other side of that communication channel. So if your kid delivers a message from your co-parent, just receive it warmly because your child didn't really choose this role, and then go back to the source. So say something like, oh, thanks for telling me, sweetheart. I'll just message dad about that directly. So no drama, no reaction, just a quiet redirect. If you do this consistently enough, then the channel quickly closes because there's no longer an end that receives. The second thing is to make it as easy as possible for your co-parent to communicate with you directly, not because they deserve the grace of that, but because it removes the incentive to use the kids. Clear channels, reasonably prompt responses to child-related communication. So a tone that makes direct contact feel lower risk than routing things through your 9-year-old is also really useful. You're not making this easy for them, but you are making it easier for the kids. And the third thing, and this probably is the hardest, is to create a home where your children feel genuinely free to talk about both parents without consequences. So if they sense even unconsciously that information flows in one direction and gets used, then they're going to shut down. They will carry more. They will protect both of you from each other in ways that you just can't see. Kids who feel safe at both ends talk more, they carry less, and they function better. As for how you stop it affecting them, well, you can't control what happens in the other household. What you can control is what happens in yours, and you can name it gently, age appropriately, without placing blame anywhere. You do not have to be a messenger. That is the grown-up job. That's what you need to tell them. Your job is to be a kid, and you need to say it once and calmly with warmth, and that gives them the permission they may not even know they were waiting for. And sometimes you're going to see a shift in their body, like maybe a small exhale or a drop in the shoulders, because somewhere they already knew that what they were being asked to do was too much. The second question is one that I think many parents carry for months, sometimes even years, before they ask it out loud, because to ask it feels a bit like giving up. And it's not giving up. It's a legitimate and serious question, and it's this: I do everything right and nothing changes. How long do I keep going? So let me be honest with you, because I think you deserve honesty more than reassurance right now. Okay, I can't tell you when it turns. I don't know your timeline. There is no specific answer to that question that I could give you honestly. And I am not going to sit here and pretend otherwise, because that's not what I do. What I can tell you is that what the research shows to help you, okay? And what I have seen over many, many years of this work, the effort that you are making, the regulation, the calm communication, the boundary held without escalation is not neutral. It's not nothing. It's building something in your children, even when it appears to be building nothing with your co-parent. And the reason it doesn't feel like it's working is that you're measuring the wrong thing. You're measuring your co-parent's behavior. That is the outer circle. That is the thing you cannot control and you cannot change by trying harder. What you are actually changing quietly and over time is your children's experience of having one parent who holds steady. Let me be concrete about what that looks like, because the research on kids in high conflict separations shows that the presence of one, yes, one consistently stable parent is associated with meaningfully better emotional and academic outcomes, even when the other parent isn't cooperating or is actively difficult. One parent consistently showing up, that is not nothing. That is arguably the most important variable in your system. And here's something else I want to say, because it's true and it does not get said enough. The work of sustained regulation is invisible to almost everyone around you. Your children can't fully say what they're receiving from it. Your co-parent is certainly not acknowledging it. You do not get a report card from your teacher. You do not get a moment where someone says, "Oh, I see what you're doing and it's working." You are doing it in the dark, pretty much. And the thing about doing this work in the dark is that it needs a different kind of motivation than the kind that feeds on feedback. You have to be able to hold the long-term mindset in your head when the short game is offering you nothing. And that is genuinely, genuinely hard. And I am not dressing it up. But here is the honest answer to how long you keep going. You keep going whilst you can. And you do the things that make it sustainable. So you get support, you go for a run, you see your friends, you go watch a film, you find people who can hold some of this with you. You're careful about where your energy goes and where you let it drain. You come back to the 25-year picture, the long-term mindset regularly, and not the next text message. And you measure success not by what your co-parent does, but by who your children are becoming in your care, because they are becoming someone who knows what steadiness looks like, and they are learning that from you. If you have a question that you would like me to answer in a future episode, please leave it in the comments below. I read them, I really, really do. And if your question is one that I think will help others, it will find its way into a future Real Questions episode. Before I close this episode, I want to say something to the parent who asked that second question, the one about how long to keep going for, because I suspect that question did not come from a place of theory. It comes from somewhere real and specific. Maybe you're exhausted, the weight of being that co-parent, the one who's doing the work while the other side isn't really. One of the most invisible burdens in co-parenting is that, and it doesn't show up in a parenting plan. No one's measuring it. No one's giving you credit for it. And on a hard week, when you have held the line beautifully and the result looks like nothing has changed, it can feel pointless. And I want to tell you what I tell my clients when they are in that place. The fact that you are still asking the question is the answer. Parents who stop caring do not ask how long to keep going. They just stop. So the question itself tells me that you haven't stopped, that you are doing a great job, that something in you is looking out for your children and for a reason to continue. And that is worth a lot. You don't need to feel hopeful to keep going. You don't need to feel confident that it's working. You just need to be able to take the next step. That is all. The next calm message, the next steady handover. Use that 25-year vision to keep you grounded in that next step, okay? That's the whole thing. And if you need support to find that next step, that is not weakness. It's the most strategic thing you can do. Come and find us. The link is below. Subscribe, join the community, and keep asking.